I'm Michael Santos with Prison Professors, and I'm here again with my friend Govan McAbee, a man who went to prison because of really some of the challenges that he faced as a result of institutional racism. He had been on a good path. He had gone to college studying robotics. He had a good job. Racism led to an act of violence, and he responded, as many young men do, in ways that I suspect that if he were to look back, he'd like to change that decision, because the decisions that he made led to bank robbery charges and a 30-year prison sentence. But that did not stop him from becoming successful. And if you want to look at the backstory, I encourage you to visit one of the earlier episodes. I'll have the link in the show notes below. I also have Govan's contact information if you want to reach out to him. What we're going to talk about in this episode are really some coaching and some advice on what I would have liked to have known after getting out of prison after 26 years. Ironically, we served about the same length of time. Mm-hmm. And I'm a little bit older than him. I'm 56. He's 52. Is that what you said?
52, yeah.
52. Mm-hmm. So Govan, I'm going to give you the first thing I'm going to suggest that you do is you don't look for some type of immediate gratification. I really would encourage you to start thinking today about what is your life going to look like in 5 years? Because in 5 years, you can really begin sowing some seeds to change your life. And to start that lesson, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know the best time to plant an oak tree?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's a good answer. Because a lot of people would just guess.
No, I don't.
But I heard this actually from a speaker one time, and he said, and when he asked the question, a lot of people in the audience would just guess. They'd say, winter, fall, nighttime, on Saturdays, whatever. But he gave a very good answer. He said, the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago.
Wow.
Because an oak tree takes a long time to grow. He said,
I like that.
But the second best time is today. And today is the day that we're going to plant a seed for your oak tree. That's right. But you've probably not spent much time planting anything in your life, but I imagine that you can kind of figure this out because you're a smart guy. So let me ask you a question. When you plant a seed and you expect it to grow through something strong, what else do you have to do? Do you just plant the seed and then walk away, or do you have to do something else?
Well, you have to plant the seed, but you have to cultivate it too, though. Exactly.
And one of the ways we cultivate it is we feed that seed, right?
Right.
And what do we feed that seed with?
We feed it with water. We feed it with sunlight.
And have you heard that we feed it with fertilizer as well?
Fertilizer, absolutely.
And tell me, do you know what fertilizer is?
No, I don't.
Okay. But you know that if you planted the seed and you're putting fertilizer on top of the dirt, right?
Right.
That means that the seed has to grow through the fertilizer, right?
Absolutely.
But you don't know what fertilizer is made of. Is that right?
I don't.
Have you ever heard that fertilizer, a lot of times the best fertilizer is livestock manure, otherwise known as shit?
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay, well, that's what it is. And that means that the seed, before it becomes a tree, it has to grow through a lot of shit. Yeah. And that's exactly what we have to do, Govan.
Like that. That's
we have to grow through the shit to become successful. To become successful, we've got to be prepared to do exactly what you've been doing during your first year of liberty. You've taken minimum wage jobs. You've hauled 120-pound doors up hills while working on a construction site of a grimy work that you described. You've taken commission-only jobs. You've done whatever it has taken to get you to the point where you are, and you've also been very frugal. That means you've been saving money instead of squandering that money on other types of things that a lot of people blow money on, and that is growing through the shit. But now you're in a position where you've got to be thinking about 5 years from now. And one of the things that I didn't know, and I came out strong, right? I came out with $100,000 in the bank. So I had options that a lot of people don't have, and I understand that.
Right.
And yet I've learned a lot because of the decisions that I made. And one of the things that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to waste. I looked at it wasting money, and any kind of money I would spend on courses and things. I always felt like I could learn myself.
Right.
Well, you pay a lot for that, right? You pay a lot for learning yourself. You pay with your time, and you pay with rebuilding and redoing and things of that sort. So I don't know what kind of capital you have, but I will recommend that you start documenting this journey. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. You could start a YouTube channel with nothing more than an iPhone, okay? I don't know if you know how to do that, but I would recommend that you do what I did. What I did was I was in the halfway house, and I had an iPhone, and I started thinking about how am I going to use this iPhone to start building my career. And if you go to have you seen my YouTube channel?
Yes. Prison Professors?
Prison Professors YouTube channel.
Yep.
If you go to that channel and you click on videos, and you go to the section to the right, and once you click on videos, if you go to the right, it'll say, I think it says, there's a drop-down menu, and you could look at oldest videos, newest videos, and most popular videos. And if you check on oldest videos, you will see that I launched that YouTube channel. The oldest video, the first one that's there, is like 2 weeks after I got out of prison.
Wow.
And I'm in a hotel, and I'm using this thing, and I said I was in prison, and this is what I did, and this is what I'm going to do. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to document the journey. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to start documenting the journey. And you can do that with a YouTube channel. That's one way to do it. You could get a phone, you could start learning how to record videos, and you can publish it. And that becomes almost like a resume for you. So you start showing this to people, because if you want to build a business around all that you've learned, we've got to think about, well, who's your market? Okay, who's going to pay you for that? No prisoner's going to pay you, right? So you got to understand that, because they don't have any money.
Right.
But there are other places that will pay you. Right now, as you see, there's a movement to defund the police. Okay, so maybe you could create a series of content, a series of courses that will help you communicate. Help you communicate to law enforcement officers how you can bring value, how you can build safer communities. And you need to put this into a package and sell it. And that's hard to do, okay? Right. Everything is this is really hard to do. And it takes a tremendous amount of discipline and a tremendous amount of self-directed resources. So YouTube is about the easiest way to start building a platform and documenting the journey. Okay?
I like that.
You should like that, because it's something you could do very well. Okay? You could go interview other formerly incarcerated people, and you could talk about the challenges they're having. And, one of the persons that I would recommend you connect with, and I'll provide an introduction, would be to some of the big YouTubers that direct their information to consumers. Okay. Now, that there are a lot of people that get turned on by prison, right? And there are shows like Lockdown and what's the other one? Maximum Security and things like that, right? And all those shows really are for people that never go to prison, but they're fascinated with it, right? Well, you've been through it, okay? So there are other people, most of whom are formerly incarcerated, that create YouTube channels that are very popular. And they just provide a real life example of what life is like by telling their story and interviewing other people. But they do it differently from me. Everything I'm doing is positive. It's about how you can come out successfully, how you can come out and make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars and build a success and live a life of meaning and relevance and dignity. The shows that are most popular a lot of times are talking about who's a shot caller and, how do I run the cell block and, all that stuff. But they make a lot of money. Okay.
Right.
A lot more than I make.
Right.
And I don't make a judgment call. I think they're just entrepreneurs and they found a market and they're doing it. And I'm inspired by them. And I say, that's great. And you could reach out to those people and tell them your story and see if they will allow you to come on their show. And that will bring you a lot of publicity. Okay. But you've got to be thinking about marketing all the time.
Okay.
And the marketing is, how did you get through this and have a mindset for success? Like your statement that you don't even call it prison, you call it the school of knowledge. Is that what you call it?
A school of thought.
A school of thought. So you might want to build your business, call it a school of thought, and talk about how you can be in a difficult circumstance, but you can create something better.
Right.
And I cannot tell you how to structure and frame that, but I can tell you I've done it a lot of times. And if you want to know like how I structured mine, I'm happy to share that with you.
Absolutely.
So I create a program always in 10 modules. Okay. So I create 10 courses, and always in these courses, they kind of follow the pathway that I learned from leaders. Okay. And leaders in business, whether it's in sports, whether it's in politics, whether it's in government, leaders always follow this path of they create a plan. Okay. First, they visualize the best outcome. They create a plan. They put priorities in place, and then they execute the plan. And they know that if they do this, they get the outcome that they want. So it becomes methodical, scientific. Okay. Right. And that's what I teach. I teach people how to do that in 10 steps. Okay. And you could do that, but you have to put it in your own context. Okay. Right. I don't know what context that you would put it in. In mine, the first lesson in my class is on defining success, meaning you've got to define what success is for you. When you look pretty fit right now, right? But when you were 160, what do you weigh now?
220.
220. So you went from 160 and it's all muscle, right?
It's all muscle. Yeah.
What was your highest bench when you were in prison?
345.
345. So you're solid, strong dude, right? But that didn't happen by accident, right? You had a solid plan. You had you had chest on Thursdays and Tuesdays. You had arms on Mondays and Wednesdays. You had legs and back. Right? You did whatever it took, right?
Yeah.
You watched your diet. You stayed fit. Well, that is the same disciplined, methodical path is what leads to success in business.
That's right.
Okay? So you've got to define that, and you've got to put that into a teachable moment so that other people can learn it. And then you create that into a package that you say, so mine, the first one is defining success. The second is defining very clearly defined goals. Okay. I'm going to go from, benching 135 to putting 2 plates on there, to putting 3 plates on there, right? All that stuff that everybody does in prison, right?
Right.
Same thing. Very, very clear goals. Third thing. Now, once you've got the values and the goals, you got to have the right attitude. So I have a course on that, right? What's the right attitude? It's 100% commitment to success.
That's right.
And it's not the same for everybody, right? I told you when I got out of prison, I wanted to have $1 million within 5 years. And I made 100% commitment to that. So if I wasn't moving closer to that goal, I wasn't on it. Everything I was doing, every conversation I had, every single thing I was doing was saying, this is what's going to drive me there. And I teach other people how to do that.
Right.
4 is going to be aspiration. You've got to see yourself for what you're going to become in 5 years. The best that you can be in 5 years. So there's a course on that. 5, you got to take action. You got to take incremental action steps. And so I've got a course on that, how important those little steps are. You couldn't go from 160 to 220 overnight. It was little steps along the way, stronger every day, okay?
Right.
Action steps. 6, you got to hold yourself accountable. So you got to create these metrics that help you assess, am I on the right path? Do I need to make an adjustment? If I fall down, how do I get back up?
Right.
7, you've got to be, if you're on this path, you can be aware of opportunities. The opportunities that opened for me were open to every other person in the penitentiary.
Right.
Okay. I didn't have any special gifts. All right. I was a terrible student in high school and I didn't have any money, but I built it all from prison, just like anybody could do. But nobody could do it for me, just like I can't do it for anybody else. I can show you the way.
Right.
It's one thing to walk the way. Say you know the way. It's another thing to walk the way. You got to walk the way, right? So you got to be aware of the opportunities. But if you're on this path, simultaneously, the marketplace becomes aware of you. Right. And they start investing in you and they want to help you. The only help I can give you is to share with you what I have done and to try and present you as a model for leadership and encourage other people to reach out and support and sponsor you. And that leads to the 8th course in my thing, and that's authenticity. You got to be for real. Right. You can't fake it. You can't be full of happy talk. Okay. I can't talk my way into a 300-pound bench press. Right. I got to be on it. And I was on it all through prison. And that's how I got through 26 years without having a single problem with anybody in prison. And it's how I got out of prison and opened $1 million deals because I was authentic. I never pretended to be something that I wasn't. Right. And I would always say I follow this path of defining success, number 1. Number 2, I would then have a strategy and document that strategy. Number 3, or actually this is number 2, I would create my tools, tactics, and resources. And 3, I would measure my progress. And if I could do that, I could show other people that says, yeah, that works for me. And that message, it doesn't only work for people in prison, it works for anybody. It helps somebody become more fit. It helps somebody become more successful on their career. It helps communities become safer. And if you can communicate that message in a manner that other people will understand, you become more successful. And so that's true. The 9th lesson in my course is about achievement. You've got to celebrate every achievement, no matter how small. Okay. And I talk about why you have to do that. And then the 10th is you've got to show your gratitude and appreciation for the blessings that have come your way. And that's one of the reasons that I continue to try and create content to teach and inspire other people who've gone through the system, is because I learned from leaders. And it's my job to try and show as many other people how to become the CEO of their own life. And so I create courses and things that, like right now, I've just told you that, but there are companies that pay me thousands of dollars to come and bring that message to their sales force. And I generate sponsorships agreements with that. And that's why if you see on the bottom, sponsored by cbdtv.com, that's a whole initiative that I started, a business that I started by going to other businesses and telling them, hey, I want to get involved in doing this. I want you to help me. And I created this venture with hopes of generating resources so that I could fund programs like these. Because I know that you can't pay me and I wouldn't take any money from you even if you could. Right. But I want to give this information, but it costs money to produce this, right? This microphone alone's $1,000, right? The software that I use to record this costs me more than $1,000 a year. All this stuff costs money. Right. And I show people how to do it, but I also put it in packages and I sell it in a lot of ways. But I don't sell it really to consumers. I don't sell it to people that have come out of prison. I sell it to businesses and say, I want you to sponsor me, or I'll sell it to institutions where I've generated purchase orders from the Bureau of Prisons, ironically enough, or from prison systems, for tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. And I keep doing it, right? And I do it because I'm for real. And that's the message but the only way that I can show that I am for real is by documenting the journey. That's why I publish on YouTube every day, because I want people to see I never ask anybody to do anything that I am not doing, right? It's incredibly powerful for me that you said you knew about me while I was in prison. But that was something I planned on by writing these things and I don't know how you found me, but to know that you did, and then when you got out, you reached out to connect with me, is an incredible testimonial to why this works. And the only reason you connected with me is because I was in prison.
That's right.
You could identify with that. We both served 26 years.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I did not know that my name is well known in the Bureau of Prisons still, because I've been gone for 7 years. I
think it might be bigger now, Michael, than it was 7 years ago. Serious.
Well, I'm going to keep working it. I'm in every state prison in California. I'm in federal prisons, and I try to give more. And I'm going to bring your story into prisons because I look at you as a role model. You are somebody that helps me communicate this message to somebody who's just coming in. That's when I want to connect with somebody. And I want you to help me do that. So
I'm on board.
So let's do this. It's gonna now take me a lot of time to edit these and get them ready, but I'm gonna start releasing them today. And one will be released today, one will be released tomorrow, one will be released the next day, and they will all have show notes beneath them that have the contact information so that you can reach out and contact Govan McAbee. And you can reach him at MCABEE Govan, Govan, at gmail.com. You can also reach him on Instagram at 8, the number 8, digit click. But you don't got to remember that. Just look at the show notes and I'll have links directly to him. And I would highly encourage you, if you're looking for a speaker to come to your business, or you're looking for somebody to help the at-risk youth in your school to learn about how their decisions today can influence behavior tomorrow, or if you're a law enforcement community, and you need somebody to speak to law enforcement officers, you need to speak with somebody that can help communicate that message. And I highly recommend Govan McAbee, a man that served 26 years in prison, and institutional racism played a role in getting him there, but it's the powerful mindset that has allowed him to come back with his dignity intact and with opportunities to contribute. So if you're in the market for somebody like that, I encourage you to reach out to my man, Govan McAbee.
Thank you.
I don't know if it'll get anywhere, but I'll certainly be putting these links out there. And what I'd like to do, Govan, is have you give us an update. If you want to start a YouTube channel, show us how you've done it. And then we'll follow up, and we'll do a follow-up on that. If you want to start a business that you're going to create, I would encourage you to start a WordPressing. If you need money and you want to get sponsors, I would give you some ideas on how to do that. That's one thing I'm doing right now. I'm out in the marketplace getting sponsors. So I never ask anybody to do anything I'm not doing.
That's right.
And I hope that's helpful to you.
Man, you haven't sent, Mike. Look, I'm telling you, you are such a big figure in the FBOP. I'm just being honest with you. And when I tell the guys that I was on a podcast with Michael Santos, they're going to go crazy.
Well, we're going to try and get it in there. Which prisons had you heard about me in? Which prisons?
You were picking up a lot of steam in Milan, Michigan.
Okay.
A lot of guys in Milan knew about you.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to try and get the program into Milan, Michigan at no charge. That's how I go out and I get sponsors. Is I want to, it's hard to sell to the BOP, although I've sold to them. I've at least $100,000 I've gotten out of prison administrators. And that's what's allowed me, those resources have helped me build this. Right?
Right.
But that's the important thing for you to understand. You've got to put things in packages so that you can distribute it, either if a client can pay you or if a client cannot pay you. Right? Like my package to the Bureau of Prisons is like $3,000, $3,500 a year per institution. So it's not that much money when you consider that every prison in there can learn and get inspired and they can be thinking about it every day. But it's still hard to sell to government. So now I go out to businesses and I say, hey, this is the value that I try to provide. Sponsor it and I can give it away. And that way we can have an influence on, and that's what I say. I say, in this era of Black Lives Matters and social injustice, the biggest people that are going to get the hurt of that are people in prison. Because if there's people out here that can't get a job, those guys are even going to have it harder. So I want to help them, and I try to get businesses to help me do that. And you can do the same thing. So
I'm on it.
All right, brother.
This is why I got in contact with you in the first place.
All right, and I'm going to connect you to a couple of other bigger YouTube guys than I am, and I think they should tell your story as well.
Okay.
All right,
Sounds
brother.
Good.
But my message, remember, is different. You can see it's all positive. Those other guys, a lot of times, they want to talk about the drama. And, you can say, yeah, you can talk about the drama, but there's a price to pay for that. I know a lot of guys serving life, and they're serving life, and they're okay with it, but they'd much rather be doing what you're doing right now, being home.
Absolutely.
So let's show people how to do that.
That's right.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
Take care.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Bye.